Good evening, everybody. It's your boy, Kentario, and I'm back again with Christ and comic books. And today we're looking at something that I don't think a lot of people really thought about as much as they should be now, especially since they're compartmentalizing the fandom, right? So the big thing right now is Avatar: The Last Airbender. And if you check out a lot of the people that are getting into it, everyone's fanboying over Zuko. Everyone's loving the character of Zuko, his story, and all of this. Like, everyone's going crazy. Like, everyone's rooting for Zuko to be like, he had the better backstory. He had the better character development. They're hyping it up. And for a lot of us anime fans out there, the term they use now is called weebs. I'm not down with it. I just like going back to old school nerds, man. Don't call me no weeb. Call me a nerd. Weeb sounds lame. That's coming from me. Weeb sounds lame. Just call me a nerd, okay? Don't make this more complicated than it needs to be. But anyway, Avatar: The Last Airbender. So I've been watching it, getting back into it. I've watched it all before, but I've just got a lot of blank spots. So I figured, hey, why not start over, right? And then starting over, watching it and getting all into it, I started to notice something. There's a lot of correlations between Avatar: The Last Airbender and My Hero Academia. I had wondered if some people were noticing that, and of course, this isn't limited to the aspect of, okay, Todoroki got a burn mark, Zuko got a burn mark. It's deeper than that. There's there's a couple of pieces, not a lot, there's a couple of pieces that makes both of these series actually seem very similar. One of which that I want to start by looking at here for today's video is how Deku and One for All is similar to Aang and the Avatar spirit. So notice how Aang now embodies the Avatar spirit. He is the one that is carrying on the lineage, that he is the one that's able to, master all four of the elements, and even more so, he's learning how to spirit bend, as the series ends at, that he could spirit bend as well, which is a very deep ability, which I think is amazing that that's actually there, and they take it farther in Legend of Korra, something that I actually need to watch as well. I want to see how good or bad they actually tell that story. But okay, so we have Aang, and Aang is one that has incorporated the Avatar spirit. He is one of a lineage of people that were chosen to embody the Avatar spirit, which is, they're incorporating reincarnation, which you can tell is something that is a piece of a religious aspect to the actual series, is that of reincarnation. So that is one thing, and they're doing that again to implement that there is being a balance in the world by having, the Avatar spirit there, the one that keeps everyone in their, not necessarily their respective corners, not keeping earthbenders with earthbenders, firebenders with firebenders, etc., but he keeps everything at bay. He keeps everything at peace, where we see a lot throughout the series where you have like the Fire Nation trying to take over, and even more so you had with not Ozai, Admiral Zhao, who went and he tried to kill the fish, which was a representation of the moon spirit, and he tried to kill that off to cease the waterbending forever. But as Iroh was identifying, we need to keep these spirits here because they keep a balance, because in turn this can actually hurt us in the long run versus it being for the good of those that are firebenders, so that we can be the ruling power. It doesn't do us any good by killing them off. So to keep that balance is the purpose of the Avatar and the Avatar spirit. And Aang is this young kid who wanted to just be a kid and live as a kid, and is being introduced to this world of at his time of warfare, which of course continued on even after he left, and that again speaks to how huge of a difference maker, no matter how young he is, to the balance of the world itself. And now we see that as well with My Hero Academia and Deku, otherwise known as Izuku Midoriya. So the thing about him, aka Deku, is he then inherits what's called One for All. He was otherwise a human kid with no powers at all. So when he gained the powers of One for All, then he was able to harness the power that his favorite hero of all time, All Might, possessed. Now the thing about that is there's a lineage of people that have held this power already. So of course you had the original person who really didn't have anything to him, but because he shared the base level power that he had with somebody else, that person had his own abilities as well as what he got from sharing the One for All and moving it forward. Now, as a reveal, for those of you that haven't seen the last episode of season 4, excuse me, those who haven't seen the last episode of season 4, this is going to be a slight spoiler, but they did a special ending to that reveals that that's showing something to where that the spirits of those that have had One for All are continuing within One for All and are able to, at some level, interact with and communicate with Deku. And so this is going to allow for Deku to access more of the abilities that are pre-hidden within him, similar to, ding, 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 the Avatar spirit. So Deku in the My Hero Academia world is the avatar of this realm. So he is one young kid who has a perspective of heroism, but as he has been experiencing through the fights he's had with Muscular and the villain, the Society of Villains, all of that battles he's had with them, his battle that he recently had with Overhaul and the mobsters, they're giving different aspects of evil and the intention of people who are corrupt. So he is being introduced to a world he otherwise didn't fully understand or grasp, which I'm actually hoping as the story goes on that they show that there are it's not always black and white when it comes to those that are doing good versus those that are doing evil. It's not always black and white. They actually tried to do that earlier on when All Might was fighting All For One, and when he was fighting All For One revealed that Shigaraki is actually the son to Toshinori's, aka All Might's master. So, and he's forgotten him. He didn't know she even had a child. So now that kid has been left to be corrupt by evil, which All For One has done to the kid. So we're seeing that, and it's giving the two sides to the coin, which is so deep. It makes being a hero very deep. And again, that's where Deku and the Avatar are similar. Now we can get into everybody's favorite, Todoroki and Zuko. Okay, so let's start with Zuko. Zuko being the Prince of the Fire Lord, his father being Lord Ozai took up the mantle of being the Fire Lord, which is King of the Fire Nation. And with that, Zuko was wanting to be able to be someone that was viewed by his father as, I'm proud of you, son. Son, you're making great strides. My son is powerful. He's learning so many great things. But the person that was always had father's eye was his sister Azula, who couldn't help but, grasp power and be as corrupt as her own daddy was. Which is a weird thing, but, she was like that. She was always daddy's little girl. Where Zuko was always more cleaving to his mother, but yet still, like any son, where he doesn't have a strong relationship with his father, he's looking to build that in some way, form, or fashion. So, of course, Zuko, having struggled and in his father's eyes, failing to do that, he was banished. And in being banished, he's been made required to go search for the Avatar. Now, in one sense, that's a trick because at the time, no one knew the Avatar was still alive. So it was a wild goose chase for him. He would just be out and searching and continue in exile no matter what would happen. But at the same note, he also found the Avatar when the Avatar awoke from his block of ice that he hid himself in, which also kept him from aging. Pretty cool. We don't know if that was the ice or if that was the Avatar spirit. Side story, long story, not going there. But anyway, so Zuko was one that was searching for the Avatar, looking to capture the Avatar to bring him home so that he could regain his honor, so that he could regain his princehood and work towards becoming a proper king for the Fire Nation. So although he was in with the Fire Nation, he was really just an outsider looking in. Because as the story progresses, you see the dark side of the Fire Nation, and it was something that Zuko wasn't actually in agreement with. They show that in two senses. One being that as Iroh was, of course, being Iroh, being that fatherly figure for Zuko, Zuko and his team were getting into bouts and battles and fighting with one another, and Iroh had to be the middleman, and his team that he had were kind of looking down on him like he doesn't care about us, he doesn't value us, and then Iroh went and told the story of what happened to Zuko and why Zuko had a scar, why Zuko is as driven as he is, and also show that Zuko actually has a heart for his people, more so than what was being demonstrated in that moment, as hard as Zuko was. So he got his scar by going to a leaders' meeting where all the generals were meeting with the Fire Lord, Lord Ozai, and discussing their war plans and strategies. And one of the strategies that was proposed was putting the new people on the front lines, which would of course get them wiped out, but would give the enemy a big head, giving them the opportunity to win. But that frustrated Zuko because that meant that it would be a sacrifice of his people. Now, we're not going into warfare talk, and we can see where that's a strategic move, but from Zuko's standpoint is, why are our people so expendable in that eyes? Why would you see our people as expendable? There's another way, there's a better way that we could do this without sacrificing our own people. That embarrassed Lord Ozai, so in that, it led to Ozai and Zuko having to fight each other in an Agni Kai, which is a battle, a show of strength between two firebenders. So in them going into that fight, Zuko wouldn't fight his father, and his father said, I will give you a scar so that you will never forget this, and that's where you get the scar. Well, excuse me, it's on the right side of his face. That's where we get the scar on Zuko's face, was from his father. Now, of course, as we see as the story goes on, you see that Zuko really develops not into someone that establishes a relationship with his father, but he becomes his own man. He doesn't have to prove anything to his father. He doesn't have to prove anything to his sister. He doesn't have to prove anything to anyone, but he can be proud of who he is and himself. So he then in turn shifts to fighting alongside the Avatar and doing the right thing and not just trying to have what he used to have anymore. So he showed great maturity and development. Now, we don't have a lot of that for Todoroki, being that his story is just being introduced. But our season 4, ended with us being able to see a different side of his father than what we've always been shown throughout the very beginning, which is, one, Todoroki's father, Endeavor, from what we understand currently, was striving towards producing someone. If he couldn't surpass All Might, he could produce someone that was going to become the strongest and the most powerful and stand atop as #1 hero. Of course, Endeavor now is #1 hero with All Might being out of the picture, but that's why he was working towards having the kids that he had and finally getting Todoroki, who masters the powers his wife has, which is of ice, and the powers that he has, which is of fire. Todoroki being one that was ashamed of what made him who he was and hated his father for what he did, completely went against using the firepower that he possessed and only learned how to use his ice. He's mastered his ice. He's very great with his ice, but he's embarrassed to use his fire, so he never touches it. But then he gets into a battle with Deku, and Deku challenges him to use the power that he has. Show me everything that you got. Why are you holding back? You're not giving me your best. You're not being your best. And so in him challenging him, he finally used his fire. So now as the story progresses, we see that he is trying to learn more about his fire. And then he even goes as far as, I hate to be that spoiler guy, but he goes as far as seeking his dad to teach him how to control his fire. Now, this is going to become confusing here later on, but the thing to understand about that is the father, Endeavor, is actually sorrowful for what he did. So he did similar to Ozai in wanting to, bring himself up, elevate himself, but he was doing that by abusing and torturing and being so very hard on Todoroki, and even more so, of course, burning him. No, oh my gosh. I feel like an idiot. It wasn't Todoroki. It wasn't Endeavor that burned Todoroki. It was his mom. Bruh. How can I be so forgetful? But it doesn't change the relationship because he got burned on his right side too. But that's because his mother, being that she was abused in the way that she was, they haven't clarified what kind of abuse she went through due to Endeavor. But the abuse that she went through kind of put her in a mental hospital. She burned Todoroki because in that moment she saw her husband and ended up burning him in response. They don't have a positive relationship between each other. Even though Todoroki loves his mother, I'm actually kind of sad thinking about it. But his mother was the one that threw, I think it was hot water on him and burned the right side of his face. So that's why he has the burns that he has. Oh, it makes me so sad to just sit here and actually think about it. But being, rejected by his mother and being abused by his father is a very dangerous place to be in. And as we can see with Todoroki's character, he's not to be funny, he's the chill guy. He keeps to himself. He for the most part, stays calm. He doesn't express much emotion, except when Deku was challenging him, expressed emotion. And then there was this actual moment that we just recently saw with when Endeavor was showing himself to try and fight for the people and show the people that he's going to be the #1 hero that they need. And Todoroki was like shouting for his dad, rooting for his dad, and overwhelmed with emotion in that moment. And wow, like you see him hit his knees after his father wins his fight and is standing with his left arm rose, his right arm risen, where All Might has his left arm risen. So you see that reflection there. But when that moment was happening, when he was like this, you see Todoroki like this praying for his father. And I was like, man, that's so deep. Because now you can see that in some way Todoroki sees some redemption for his dad. You don't get that with Ozai and Zuko, but you do see that as a possibility with Todoroki and Endeavor. Why is that important? Because being able to keep a relationship with your family and that being what will make you strong. Yes, Todoroki needs to find his own way, but at the same time, Todoroki shouldn't destroy the relationship with his father to do that. Now, here's the difference there is Endeavor's willing to rekindle this relationship. Ozai was nowhere near close looking to change and become something better. So that's why Aang, at the end of the series, takes his powers. Great, amazing, right? But Endeavor is going to show not only the people, but he's going to show his family that he's changed. And I look forward to it. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, being able to see that relationship and see those similarities, because I think that's actually really cool. I hope to hear back from you guys sometime in the future. You guys have yourself a blessed evening, and thank you for checking out. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Check out my most recent material. I look forward to hearing from you. Y'all take care.